or a way to exploit this vacuum in power, and he took it. The German princes who were supported by Pope Innocent III elected Frederick King of Germany. Actually, his first election was in 1212, and his second election was in 1215, sometime called, that's called King of the Romans, or King of the Germans or something. But that was usually, or King of Germany, and sometimes King of Italy. But that was a precursor to becoming, or a stepping stone, the stepping stone to being elected Holy Roman Emperor.
His emperor, the way he conducted himself as emperor was very different in terms of he both centralized his authority more so than before him. However, he's portrayed as like a generous patron who courted talent from everywhere: musicians, troubadours, speakers, artists, jousters. He was a contemporary of Roger Bacon. He refuted a lot of Aristotle's theories. He was associated with mathematicians, Maimonides. It sounds to me like he was a scientist. It was almost like his idea was like he was maybe a monarch, but he was a scientist too, maybe even more so.
Well, that's true. Let me just say that that was another side to his personality. Frederick II was a very multifaceted personality or figure. What I mean to say by that was he seemed to be interested and curious about everything. There was no area of scholarship or like that he wasn't interested in, and he would pursue these interests to great extents. He would question the scholars in the various fields that he had in his court, in religion, for example, philosophy, the different sciences, to try to get to the bottom of everything. He had I guess you call it an inquisitive mind and a scientific mind, and he was interested, I would say, in the scientific method of finding things out, actually experimenting with animals. They say to some extent, there's rumors he experimented on prisoners too, whether they say that's not proven.
Experiments you talk about?
Well, experiments as to what would make them sick, what would make them better, medical experiments, what made them fatter or skinnier, what made them, different aspects, what made them functioning, and some of this is rumor, some of it is, a lot of it is true, or at least as far as the accounts of his life were written by people that knew him. So in this respect, he was unique in his time as a ruler, and somewhat unique in history, to be so interested in so many things, and in the Middle Ages.
We have an exhibit here. It's another portrait of Frederick II. This time, he's meeting with, I believe, an Arabic leader by the name of
Al-Kamil.
Al-Kamil. Could you let's just discuss this portrait? Could you give us some insight into this?
Okay.
Number one, he's meeting with an Arab leader. That's unusual or unique right from the get-go.
Well, yes, I would say so under the circumstances of the time. The portrait, to get to the point, the portrait itself portrays a meeting that took place between Frederick II and the Arab ruler of Egypt and the Holy Land, Palestine. His name was Al-Kamil. The portrait of Frederick is on the left. He's the taller figure with the shorter beard. Could be somewhat accurate. He has a crown, he has the red hair, and a small beard. There are sculptured busts of him with a beard like this. He's dressed in contemporary clothing of the first half of the 13th century. This is what Europeans wore in the European monarch. However, the portrait of Al-Kamil, it appears it could possibly be him or not. He has clothing similar to Frederick's, a crown similar to Frederick's, and a beard similar to Frederick's. So that may not be accurate. But
when this meeting, had something to do with the Crusades and the negotiations?
Yeah, yes, it does. Frederick II was the leader of the Fifth Crusade. That's what it's called. It was Frederick's crusade, his crusade to the Holy Land. He had taken on the task of freeing the Holy Land, specifically Jerusalem, Bethlehem, and Nazareth, especially Jerusalem, from the hold of the Muslims, the Arabic Muslims, who controlled it at that time, and had controlled it from, I believe, 1187, when their leader Saladin had taken it back from the Christians. He had made a pledge, or a vow, actually, a solemn vow to the popes at the time, several of the popes actually, to free Jerusalem. Actually, he was excommunicated by Pope Gregory IX for failing to honor his crusading pledge in 1227. The Pope thought he was lagging too much, but there was a lot of illness and epidemic, and there were reasons for it. But Frederick did go on his crusade in 1228. Actually, was excommunicated at the time, which in itself was unusual to have an excommunicated ruler.
War, he produced a truce with
right. Yeah, that's the interesting part. Frederick, when he got to the Holy Land, to Jerusalem, he actually negotiated a truce with this Al-Kamil, who was the ruler. He came from a dynasty called the Ayyubid dynasty of the area, including Egypt and all that area around the Holy Land. And he negotiated a truce, and then actually a treaty, an agreement, was reached, in which the Jerusalem, Palestine, Jerusalem, Nazareth, and Bethlehem, the holiest sites to Christians, were all freed from Muslim rule and given over to the Christians to rule. So they were returned to Christian rule, which was in itself a great achievement at the time, and without bloodshed was unique. This never happened before or since in a crusade.
So what started the war between the Pope and and Frederick? Was it the excommunication?
Well, as I mentioned before, he was excommunicated twice.